Welcome everybody to the MrBoxingguru podcast. Again, it is me, Sal, MrBoxingguru. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again. Again, this is a podcast for you guys. You guys are the ones that implement every single thing, every suggestion. I always take it in mind. Today, again, we're gonna do things a little different because you know what? I've been getting a lot of slack on these podcasts. People are saying, you know what? It's not really you, guru. Sometimes you read off of stuff and whatnot. We kind of want to do things sort of like your live, and I think that's that's fair. And feedback is always been great. Not something that I've always taken, but nonetheless, I have to take it in. Again, this podcast is made for each and every one of you guys that have downloaded week after week. Again, I cannot thank you enough. Again, mil gracias to all of you guys, and let's get started. This week we have a lot to talk about because we got CHON ZEPEDA just fought RAMIREZ right now. Again, this is today. Again, it's Sunday, so I like to have the podcast fresh for you guys for Monday morning. That way, you guys have something to listen to on the way to work or during work. Anything that avoids you listening to Beto Duran and his morning show. No, just kidding. Big shout out to Beto Duran, Jessica Rosales. They have a great morning show. Make sure you guys listen to that. But again, we have so much boxing to talk about. There was a fight. There was 2 cards. It was about 3 cards this weekend here, just in Southern California. We had, of course, the Dignity and Health Center, formerly known as StubHub, formerly known as Home Depot Center, and of course, like we all like to call it, the War Grounds, which is in Carson, California, the infamous tennis court, where Abner Mares was supposed to fight Tank Davis. Unfortunately, that fight didn't happen. What we ended up getting was, a late replacement. And look, there's nothing wrong with salvaging a date. On the contrary, I think I rarely commend PBC, but I commend them for finding someone on such short notice. Again, even if the guy was out of his weight, again, they still try to salvage somehow the date and time, and good for them. And I'm glad they did. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to just sit and eat it. Look, I think right now we're in a very, very critical spot as boxing fans that we could pick and choose what the hell we listen to or what the hell we watch. What fight do we attend? And being in Southern California, I was very pro that fight because, I was going to end up, it's right here in my hometown, and it's a couple of miles away, and I could, go to a carne asada, do a tailgate or whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that we all really wanted to watch Abner Mares, and if Abner Mares wasn't going to fight, regardless if you saw him winning the fight or not, you were there to, cheer the guy on. That wasn't going to happen. He, unfortunately suffered an injury to his eye, and I'm not sure what else. But the fact of the matter, he had to withdraw. So now what do you do as a boxing fan? Do you feel bad for PBC? No. You move on to the next. We're in a great stage in boxing where everything is streamed. There's so many different other avenues that you can say, okay, this fight's not good enough. This fight does not deserve my dollar. I'm going to go on to the next place. And that's exactly what a lot of us did. I actually posted it on my social media. Guys, you guys can get your money back. Head to Indio and enjoy yourself. Personally, that's what I did, and I had a blast. Look, there were so many fun fights. At Indio, we had JOJO DIAZ versus Charles HUERTA, which is a very difficult fight for me to watch. I think that's the only time I went ahead and sat down and tried to enjoy the fight. I like both of the guys. I think they're phenomenal athletes. I just, again, I think they're 2 great Southern California guys. I know when Charles HUERTA was coming about, he was this kid that had a great following in Paramount, California. Up to date, he goes as, the pride of Paramount. Anytime he fought, and we're talking back in the Nokia days, back in the original Golden Boy Fight Night Nokia days, where he used to, just pack the bars, which that's what it was. It was essentially a bar with a ring. and it was just a lot of his fans. He was supposed to be the big name that put Paramount in the map when it came to boxing. Unfortunately, things happen and careers get derailed, but it's not the way. It's not if you get knocked out, it's how you get up. And thankfully, Charles Huerta was able to get up. He gave it another shot, and look, he just went at it against a career 126 pounder that moved up to 130. But if you know boxing, especially Golden Boy boxing, you know JoJo Diaz, and you know JoJo Diaz is a hell of a fighter. So yes, he went the distance. Yes, it was a very entertaining fight. Would I have liked to see Charles let his hands go a bit more? Absolutely. Am I gonna give him shit because he didn't? No. There was only so much he could do. We could say that, oh, he didn't let his hand go. That's why he lost the fight. No, the fact of the matter is that JoJo Diaz didn't let his hand loose, and that's what happened. So at the end of the day, yes, JoJo won by decision. Great decision. I went and congratulated JoJo after the fight. I looked at him. He looked great. His hands looked great. He did change gloves company, so it almost seems like he was trying to punch through Charles. So I think that was a big plus for him. So again, very happy for the kid. And really can't say enough for him. I mean, he's an exceptional fighter, and kudos to him, and kudos to Charles too, because look, just because you get an L, you catch an L or whatnot, doesn't mean that's the end of your career. No, on the contrary, show me what you did. And prime example of that was the main event versus that was what Andrew El Chango Cancio versus Alberto Machado. That is a prime example. Now, if you guys don't recall, Andrew Cancio, which again pulled off the upset against Alberto Machado, he had gotten beat up plenty of times already. JoJo Diaz being one of them a few years back. If you guys recall, JoJo, I think, ended up stopping Cancio. And Cancio, again, is a very durable, hard, just one of those hard-nosed, blue-collar guys that, again, you love to cheer for. But the fact of the matter is that JoJo was able to take care of him. From my understanding, there were some issues going on behind the scenes with Cancio when he fought JoJo. Again, Cancio is the type of guys that never really told everybody. He never really told anybody but a handful of folks. And just ate it and took it and dusted himself off and continued his career. Now let's push back a couple of years forward. Personally, and I'll tell you guys, I'll eat crow on this because I love bragging when I actually get a fight right. This one, I didn't have it right. I'll be honest with you guys. I got up and I went to the beer line. I said this is going to end fairly quickly. We're going to see Cancio get steamrolled. This Puerto Rican kid is something special that Miguel Cotto was brought from the La Isla del Encanto. And this Puerto Rican kid's just going to destroy Cancio because, that's what Cancio does. On paper, that's what Cancio does. He gets run over by these guys. But no, contrary to popular belief, little did we know, he was able to, if I'm not mistaken, he got knocked out in the first round. Cancio did, and even towards the end of that round, he started putting it on Machado. On the second round, again, on the second round, I personally gave it to Cancio, and even going back on the zone and rewatching it again, he's starting to hurt Machado, especially to the body. And then, what was it, in the fourth round, I think it ended, it finally stopped. There was one body, it was almost seemed like a jab, I don't know. But he actually knocked out, he stopped Machado. Again, a fighter that I had in very high regards. But that shows you that just because you have a loss doesn't mean your career is over. If the dream is there, go for it. If you still have your capabilities and you think you can, because remember, nobody's going to believe on you as much as you can, as much as you believe in yourself, and that's what Cancio did. And look, now he's the WBA champion. So kudos to him. It's a feel good story. Seems like him and his family struggled to get to where he's at, and I'm really happy for him. So, and I guess I kind of derailed off topic, but I mean that's what I mean when it comes to Charles. He didn't get didn't get the win, but I think more people uh, do not mind seeing him fight again. So kudos to him again in the main event. It was Cancio, the one that took the belt. Everybody was shocked. There was a couple of folks that actually really believed in Cancio. He said he's a spoiler. He'll ruin a career, and man, that he did great. Other than that, on that same card, I think Ray Vargas actually defended his WBC title. Um, the scorecards, in my opinion, seem a little wide towards Vargas. I did see Vargas, if I'm not mistaken, he got clipped early. But he's just a tall, goofy bastard. Um, Very awkward for the weight division. Very tall for the weight division. Again, he comes from the hard school of Nacho Beristain, and we know Nacho Beristain loves a long, lengthy fighter like that because he teaches him how to use the distance. Uh, everything is behind that jab, that weird, awkwardly shaped jab like from the 1950s. Nonetheless, it works for him, and it works for Vargas, especially like that image that Vargas is at that weight. He's forced to be reckoned with, and again, might not be that easy on the eyes, especially because he's está feíto, and the guy is ugly, and he kind of looks like Esqueleto, or what's his name from forgot that show with that one other fucking gordito, but what's it called? Now I'm not Nacho Libre. I'm sorry. Wow, what a fucking mongolito moment. But the fact of the matter is that Ray Vargas again he's not easy to watch. He's fun to the purist, but nonetheless he got the win. Now the question is, what do you do with a guy like Ray Vargas? Who wants to fight him? He reminds me of a modern day Paul Williams. Remember Paul Williams? Nobody wanted to fight this guy because he was a guy that freakishly made 147 pounds, but he had the wingspan of a door. So why would you want to fight a guy like that? I mean, the only reason why you would want to fight him because he has a belt is something that you want. But if you're a boxing manager, you just stay away from him. You saw what he did to Azad. You saw what he did to Ron Rios, and the Oscar the kid from the Colombian kid too. So there's not much desire to fight him unless you're a big fan of the belt. And again, I know most fighters are. They won that green belt, so they'll love to get a crack at a guy like him. That what do we talk about already? So let's kind of recap. Talked about Diaz fighting Huerta. We talked about let's see, what else do we have? We of course talked about the main event, Cancio. Let's see, Manzanilla. Those were the ones that kind of popped up as far as the zone card on Golden Boy's zone card from India. Again, guys, if you guys never had a chance to go to India, do yourself a favor, go to India. Tickets are $55 for floor seats. I think the cheapest ticket is $35, but I mean it looks like it's like on your local high school gymnasium. It's fun. It's liquor's cheap. Rooms aren't bad. It's just a great environment, and everybody is very accessible. Now, for you guys that listen to me and have followed me on my social media account, please come up and say hello. Don't DM me the next day. Say, "Oh, I saw you, but you look busy." It's a fight, guys. How busy could I am? Just come and say hello. Have a beer. We'll have a beer together and then just have a good time. Now, when I got back home, actually, today I sat down and watched the StubHub fight, or the lack of StubHub fight, because we saw Tank Davis go for the quick knockout, but again, we all knew that was gonna happen. He's fighting a bantamweight. He's fighting a guy way out of his that was just way over his head. Like I said, I personally wanted to go watch Francisco Ochoa, but that's just me personally. But other than that, I wasn't gonna go watch it. I wasn't gonna go. I wasn't gonna stay home for that type of fight, that type of card. Again, India was great. Had a great time, and for those of you guys that I did see, again, thank you guys, and you guys made it a great event. It even had me at the end of the night screaming like that guy, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. I was pumping and breaking and whatnot. But again, it was a great event. Again, the Tank Davis fight was what it was. It was like I said, it was a blown up bantamweight. What happens to Tank Davis now? Where does he go to? I heard a couple of interviews, and Floyd was talking about he wants to go do an exhibition in Japan, like Floyd. He could do whatever he wants. That's on him. But what does he really do with his career? The fight to make, it's a fight with Loma. That's what we want. Of course, there's guys like Cancio out there, but we also have to know that certain promoters are not going to work. So let's try to make sense of what needs to happen. Again, a fight like Cancio is great. The Loma fight, I think it's something that interests most of us. I think Top Rank in the last year and a half, they've been very flexible on fighting outside of the network to try to find that opponent. They've done it with Crawford. I mean, I know they reached out to PBC plenty of times to try to fight one of their guys. Look, if the money is there to be spent, why not? I know Top Rank is doing it. They want to do it. But again, at this point, it's on them. So I think a fight, Loma versus Tank, should be done. But somehow, every time they put a mic in front of Floyd's face, he somehow starts talking about, oh, he's Loma's doing his career. This is we were gonna do ours. So at what point, as a boxing fan, do you say, nah, fuck this? I'm not gonna buy this. At what point do the networks say, fuck you, Floyd, or fuck you, any promoter, say, I'm not going to buy this shit. You guys are trying to serve me shit on a silver platter. Why would I take this? How long? So Floyd knows that he could do that as he pleases. Whatever fight Tank wants or they want, the networks are going to accept. So at some point, the networks have to put their foot down and say, you know what? I'm not going to take this fight. And we shouldn't be taking fighters that are out of their weight. There's fights to be made. There's fights. I like Tank as a fighter. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I really like what he does in the ring. But I want to see him versus somebody his size. A guy that's either anywhere from 130 to 135. A guy that's going to be competitive for him because, in my opinion, he's ruining his prime. Fighting opponents that are not on his level. And even to a certain point, Abner Mares, we know Abner Mares is a great fighter. He's hopefully a future Hall of Famer. Everything gears towards that. So even picking on a guy like Abner Mares, it's complete bullshit. Tank, there's plenty of fighters for Tank. Now, why aren't they taking him? That's up to you guys, the boxing fan. That's up to the networks. They need to do some shit about it because it's honestly it's getting bad. Mismatches are where accidents happen. This is where people would end up dying or brain damage, and of course we've had enough of that, and we don't want that. So, but let's see. That was actually, like I was just speaking about it. Ramirez actually scores a majority decision versus Zepeda. I just watched this fight as well. Ramirez is that guy. I think Ramirez could sit back and box and win easier decisions, but I think he just chooses not to. He wants to brawl. He's fighting in his hometown. And shout out to Jose Ramirez. As many asses as he's been able to put in seats in his hometown is just a thing of beauty, and it's very rare to see that. Of course, you get that with the big names, with the Canelos of the world, but in the guy, He was built in his community. He's pro his community, and he's able to put what, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 12,000 or over 12,000 people um, in the arena. So kudos to him. Chon Zepeda, like Chon Zepeda is one of the best kept secrets in boxing. I think he's a hell of a fighter. People, I think, were again, and that's where we have to give kudos to the matchmakers, because a guy like Chon Zepeda, nobody really knew much about him. I know the hardcore, what I like to call the Telefutura boxing fans, knew about him. But nobody really gave him a chance. And arguably, he won the fight. I geared towards Ramirez just a little bit, 1 or 2 rounds. So if the fight would have been 1 or 2 rounds the other way, I wouldn't have argued with it. I would have been a hell of an upset, but I wouldn't have argued with it. So again, in my opinion, Ramirez won. But again, back to Chon Zepeda, he's just that type of fighter that would trouble anybody at 140, any of the elite 140 pounders. And that's why, and again, I know I'm going a bit off topic, but this was the weekend of the matchmaker. Like I said, this fight, again, people slept on it. They didn't really, there was not much buzz outside of Fresno, but this was a hell of a fight. It was a hell of a fight. In the match itself, both of them mesh well with each other. Again, and same thing goes with a lot of the fights that happen over at Golden Boy and on the Zone. They mesh well and they gave us a great fight. I only wish PBC would try to do this more often. Again, I'm not blaming them for this weekend, but you guys got to try a little harder. Yeah, so kudos to Jose Ramirez. He pulled out the fight. He's still the 140 pound guy to beat. Of course, there's always that monster. Every fighter has that monster waiting for him. In this case, is Regis Prograis, another 140 pound monster. He doesn't have a belt right now. I think he's in a super series of some sort right now. So we wait on that and keep them busy until then. So what does Ramirez do in the meantime? He wanted the Linares fight. That obviously didn't happen. So why not Cano? Cano took out Linares. I know Ramirez wanted Linares. That's not an option. Cano is. Why not? Let's get it done. There's other fighters in his weight class that I think would do great. And I know a lot of people might think it might be too early, but his own stablemate, Virgil Ortiz, I think would do great against Ramirez. But again, that's almost playing with fire, because I mean they're both stablemates, so we all know something like that won't happen unless he goes back to Freddie Roach, because lo miré bien abrazadito. I saw him all hugged up with him. So you just never know in boxing. Other than that, let's see what we got in the schedule. Because again, it's been very busy. Like you said, we just had a fight on a Sunday. I mean, we never get that. But yeah, I do want to send a big shout out to a lot of the undercard fighters. Andy Vences actually fought and won. Gabe Flores Jr., Saul Neno actually won as well. He was going for the 10th rounder. He got the W. But let's see what we have for next week. Let's see what we have. And next week is the 15th, 16th. Let's see what we have. Oh, actually, we have Leo Santa Cruz. We have Leo Santa Cruz fighting Rafael Rivera on a 12th round for Leo Santa Cruz's WBA featherweight title. And that's actually the real WBA, not the interim, not the nada. So, look, man, this is the thing with Leo. Leo's one of those fighters that I personally always like. I like when I see him inside the ring. I like. What I don't like is inactivity. I think Leo's is one of those. He has one of those type of styles that need to be active as much as possible. Mexican fighters, unfortunately deteriorate a lot easier than other fighters. So he needs to be active, and he's just honestly I don't know if it's a thing with his dad or whatnot, but he's not an active fighter. He's not a fighter that fights very good opposition. He's fought maybe about two fights that you said from the very beginning, okay, you don't know if he's gonna win or not. Even the Mares fight, I think, was a fight that you knew that the Santa Cruz was gonna win. There's the Gary Russells of the world out there. Why isn't he fighting a guy like Gary? They're in the same promotional company. Why? Why is it so difficult to get a decent fight for Leo Santa Cruz? That's what makes it. That's what makes it so hard to cheer from. Look, I like Leo, but in a clear conscience, I cannot sit there and invite my friends over, have a carne asada, or much less pack my ass in my truck and go see him. It's not worth it if I already know who the winner is. Now, the co-main event to this fight, that's a fight that I give PBC all the credit in the world. You're talking about Omar Figueroa Jr. versus John Molina Jr., La Pelea de los Juniors. This is a fun fight. Now, this, in my opinion, deserves main event. I almost feel like Leo Santa Cruz should be bumped down to co-main, if that, and put Omar Figueroa Jr. versus John Molina. John Molina, we all know John Molina as that crazy warrior. He's not the prettiest fighter to look at, but Jesus Christ, does he always bring it. Every single fight he brings it. You can never count him out, not to the last bell rings, and both of them, John Molina and Omar, fighting the way they fight, just pure raw savageness, I guess, if you could call it. It's gonna be a beautiful fight. That fight, please, guys, if you guys are in the LA area, go check it out. It's a PBC fight. I don't care. It's a fight that every boxing fan should try to go out and watch. If not, watch it from home. But it's going to be a hell of a fight. Personally, I think Omar Figueroa takes out John Molina Jr. and he's able to take him out in about 8 or 9 rounds. It's just going to be too brutal to go the distance. And if it goes the distance, one of these guys is just not going to end up right. The fight, like every PBC fight, it's completely stacked. There's about what seems like 100 fights. Hugo Centeno's fighting in it. Who else is fighting on it? Let's see. Yeah, Red Catch. I mean, nobody cares. Carlos Valderas is fighting on it too. So again, fun fight, but the co-main event is one that's just gonna be a ridiculously awesome fight. Hell of a bloodbath. I personally can't wait for that one, and it's gonna be good times. Other than that, that's what we have for the weekend. As far as news and notes, they say that Joshua Miller is pretty much a done deal, and it should happen sometime in June, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a good thing. The venue for Canelo Jacobs has been announced, and it is a T-Mobile Arena. So start getting your rooms ready and booking your rooms and have a lot of fun. For you guys that never been to Vegas, the best way to go about it. Stay in New York. The T-Mobile Arena is right next to it, so you don't have to do a lot of back and forth going to the MGM and whatnot. So, and of course, Berchelt injures his hand and the fight gets postponed, so no Vargas Berchelt for now. It's a little weird knowing that it's going to be top rank event, especially when the first one was Golden Boy. But hey, it is what it is. As long as these guys fight, that one should be very interesting. I think the more time we give Vargas to heal his face, because we know it's always a bloody mess, the better. It's one of those guys that I actually condone inactivity, just because I know his face just tears up on every single fight. He's one of those guys that if you feint him, he'll cut. So yeah, guys, that's that. Again, I want to say thank you very much for listening. I think this one might have gone a little longer than most because I just went, no schedule, no summary of what happened. I just went straight to it and threw it from the head. I did look at the schedule for fights, but other than that, we're good. Guys, like I always try to have this ready for you Monday morning. I'm about to upload it right now. It's Sunday. It's about close to midnight. So again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.